Welcome to the Cythia Nyamai Show. In our society, we do not have mental illness. It's not that we don't suffer from mental diseases, it's that we do not want to talk about it. It's almost like a taboo. We are ignorant about this topic. Today we look at mental illness through Samuel, who has bipolar. Let's get a little bit educated about it. Coming up shortly. Thank you so much, Samuel Boiyo, for joining us today.
Thank you too.
Now, I've listened to your story online,
Yes.
Where you talk a lot about mental health. But first, before we get to that, I want to know a little bit about you. Who are you? Where did you grow up, and how was your childhood?
Okay, my name, as you have said, is Samuel Boiyo.
Yes.
I stay here in Nairobi, Zimmerman. I'm a salesman. I sell jewelries in offices.
Yes.
And I grew up in a place called Elbagon about 38 years ago. That's where I was born. And I advocate for mental health. And I'm that born in a family of 6.
Yes.
Yes.
What experience have you had with mental health personally?
Okay, with mental health, I have been diagnosed with bipolar, mood disorder.
Yeah.
And I have battled it for the last 17 years on medication. Actually not for 17 with medication, but earlier to that, I had suffered, but I didn't know what it was.
Yes.
And since I was properly diagnosed when I came to Madare Mental Hospital, is when I started my medication. But before that, it's like 5 years more that I could go to our health facility in our nearby health center. Then I could misdiagnosed for other ailments.
Yes. You know, it's interesting the way you openly talk about you had bipolar, even saying you've been to Madare Hospital. A lot of times people never want to share about that. But before you were diagnosed and you found out that you had bipolar, what were you going through before you realized what exactly you had?
Okay, many times I could not do well in school. Even I could be expelled from school for misbehavior.
Yes. What kind of misbehavior?
I could just feel I'm late into school. I don't want to do homework. And when I come back at home, my parents thought I was mischievous, unlike other children. They never knew I have a problem that need medical attention.
Yes. At what age did you start showing the signs?
At age 16 or 16.
Yes.
That is when I started showing that sign of mischievous, but that was not me. The problem was not that I was mischievous, it's the problem that I had. Most of the time I could close myself in a room. I could not like to eat. I could not like to bed. I could not like to do anything. So my parents were asking me, why am I unlike other children? But they could not understand.
Even you are a child, so you would really not know why you are different.
What I was going through, I could not also understand myself. I could not understand also as well. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of misdiagnosis, because every time I could even hear physical pain. Then when I go, for example,
so you'd have like aches on your body?
Like abdominal pain. And when I go to the hospital, there is nothing. Not that was a manifestation of the mental illness, that bipolar. So after a long time, when I came to Nairobi, that is when I was told there is a Madare Mental Hospital. And when I went there is when I was properly diagnosed and I started my medication. Since then, I have been on and off medication, and at times I relapse when the life stresses overwhelms me. Yes.
And what made, whoever recommended you to Mathare Hospital, what signs were you showing then for them to suspect maybe this is a mental illness?
Okay, what happened, I tolerated and it became outgrown.
Okay.
The small physical elements that I had, the signs that I had also become bigger. Then I could now think of so many things. I could think of how many, I have a lot of money in the bank. I could think I want to become a president. I think I want to relate with the very prominent people all the time. I was like,
and you would say and tell people, I have a lot of money in the bank.
Yes. And I want to associate me with big people. I want to be a member of parliament. So I want to go to see Obama. Those are the stories that I was giving people around. Then I was talking, very talkative. I could link, radios are talking about me. Then is when a friend of mine...
So when you're listening to the radio, there's a story going on, you're like, these people are talking about me.
Exactly. It's as serious as that. So that is when I'm on maniac side. When we talk about bipolar, it has two extremes. When you are up, you think of such big things. You are totally out of reality. But when you are outside, you are depressed. It's the time that you don't want to bathe, you don't want to eat. You just want to close yourself in a room. But the other one, you want to, when you are maniac, you want to go outside, start talking so fast, talking so much, telling people how much you can able to employ all people. You have a supernatural, an extra powers that you don't know where they come from. But that was sickness.
Is there like a cycle that, or a pattern where does one start having the big ideas or a maniac, and then from there now you go to depressed, or depression first you're a bit low and then you go high?
You start with maniac, then you go to depression. And it, in some cases, when you are there, then you become with depression. Sometimes you can feel contemplate suicide because maybe of the grandiosity you are feeling about and the highness you are feeling is not realistic. You feel you are worthless, you are normal, so you sometimes you can feel like you want to commit suicide.
So you went to Mathare Hospital, then they told you exactly what you have?
They told me after a proper examination, I was told there is a bipolar mood disorder which needs to be managed by medication.
Had you heard about bipolar before this?
No, even...
and in your family, had you ever seen the similar signs? Okay.
No. Even I was so young, I didn't even understand there is a place like Mathare.
How old were you then?
I was like 19 years.
Wow.
I was 19 years. Even I didn't get a chance to complete my education because of in and out of school. Because of the sickness. So when I was first taken to Mathare, actually I was taken there by police. What happened? During that maniac, I could go to churches and start interrupting people there in front because I get out of control. So then at daytime, that was a night vigil. Then I was chased out of the compound, the church. Then I stayed outside the compound. I started singing outside there until morning. During the day, I passed in the church, International Christian Church around Mombasa Road. I went, I found people, they were gathering, they were praying. Then I took a hard bag. I wanted to sit to join them in prayer. They said that I was wanted to steal. That was my first time that I was taken to Mathare, because I was beaten, taken to Rangata police station, and then when I went to court, I was told to go to Mathare for mental checkup. That's when I started my journey in Mathare Mental Hospital.
So now that's when they found out that you were unwell and you
yes,
were diagnosed. How do people, for the sake of educating people a little bit, how do people react to you, especially when you're in the maniac stage? People see you shouting or you're joining a church and so on. How do they react like they're educated? They can tell this is what this gentleman is going through, or do they a lot of times, like at the church now, call police? What has been your experience?
Okay, at different instances, you find people are there to judge you, misjudge you. They can say maybe you have taken bang, you have taken alcohol, and they didn't know, they can't realize that they are not aware of any mental problem you may have or how helpless you are and you are in need of help. So most public and people at large and this is the main reason why I like talking about it, to create more awareness to the public, so that when they see people like that, not to take them for criminal. Like now they took me for a criminal and I was not for that. But it's good for people when you see someone in such a similar situation, at least to help and to take him to hospital. Also people like, I could now go to the market. I take something, I could go to a hotel. I take food without some customers' food. Without their permission, I could be beaten. They could not know.
But actually now when we think about it, it should make sense if you're a normal person. If this person has just come and is eating my food, maybe something is not right. But I think we are so quick to judge.
They are quick to judge, and I could be beaten.
And to punish.
I was being punished literally for taking such measures. And that's why I said, once I get well, I will try to get platform to talk about, to educate the public. Those are not criminal, as they say. You can even go to the market, you take a banana, then you are beaten. Then not that you are willing to take without the payment, it's because you are sick and you are helpless. And that is maybe what your mind is telling you. Because when you get into sanity, after medication you get to sanity and you realize what you are doing. Like me, what I do, I get a lot of bad episode. When I get into episode, I get to bad episode. Like even sometimes I'll move clothes. So you can say Sammy is going to work very smart and the other day he has no clothes. So that gives me a lot of embarrassment. So what I say, when I get well, I say I don't want to repeat. I pray next time when I get relapse, I could not like to remove clothes. That's how I take more like a remedy. And it happens.
I think, Sammy, just before we take the break, one of the things that has stood out for me is that it's important for us to be able to tell in the society who is helpless. Because you said they didn't realize how helpless I was. We need to realize how helpless sometimes people are before we quickly judge them and punish them. When we come back, we find out more about the journey of recovery for Samuel. Coming up shortly. Welcome back. We're so glad that you're still here with us. Today we're talking about mental illness, and Samuel today has been very helpful in taking us through your vulnerable journey. So you are talking about that sometimes you even find yourself removing your clothes. When you come back to yourself, and do people now tell you, do you know the other day you did 1, 2, 3, what was wrong with you? How does it feel after that?
People will give you so much stories. Some even you tend not to believe they are correct because they are so embarrassing. But despite of that, there is some of them that I remember.
Yeah. Oh, you remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes I have a lot of insight even when I'm sick.
Yes.
I can remember. But you find even when you told me, even me, I realize nilikuwa nimetoa nguo. So you feel you are so embarrassed because you can say, hey, Samir today is going to work. The other day, it's not good, and you see there is a children around there.
Yes.
You feel so embarrassed. But there is something we have learned in Malare. There is a counseling session which has helped us for accepting ourselves and our condition, and believing is not our will. Is a sickness. It's not that I'm doing that knowingly.
That is true. Yeah.
And it has helped me so much. So that to accept the outcome of what I go through.
Yeah. But this education, even when you mention about children, I think having this discussion that we're having now is a discussion that as grown-ups we should have, but also educate our children.
Yes.
Yes.
When I was thinking it's good for children to introduce mental health in school.
In school, yes.
So that they can learn more, because it has mental health has become a very big problem in Kenya today.
Yes, that is true.
Yes.
Yeah. And we run away from it. Even when you think about the conversations that we have, even when we were talking about your big dreams, I'm just thinking a lot of times, even as we share our big dreams, people tell you, hapana, hiyo ni wazimu. Or if we want to abuse someone, we say, huyu ako na wazimu, achana na ye. How does it feel living in a society like ours, and wazimu is used to abuse someone or to belittle someone?
Okay, there is a lot of stigma in the society, and like now it's like a descriptive word that is used all over. You can hear people talking it in matatu. He has not taken his medication.
Yes.
He has wazimu. So it pains me thinking they are taking joke of what you know for reality is what is disturbing you or what is real to you.
Yes.
So I could urge people not to use wazimu as a descriptive word, to be more polite when they are talking about that one. And I think I don't think why everything is associated with madness.
Yes.
Because everything you will feel people talking about it. Even the jokes. The best joke people make.
It's true.
They make about
people say huyo ni wazimu. I think I'm also guilty of it, Sammy, to be honest. Because sometimes I tell people when, as a joke, I say, or I used to say, you know, maybe he has not taken his medication today. But it's actually not funny, because for you that's a reality. That if you don't take your medication, that
you will relapse. You will be there. You get into ward. And this medication we take, it has a lot of side effects. Especially we have the second generation and first generation. So we prefer to take second generation because it has so minimal side effects, unlike first generation. But at first, you take first generation before now you come to know of the second generation. Also, they are a bit expensive, so it also depends with your financial situation, financial status. So what I can add people out there is about how to take care of people who are mentally ill. All people who are struggling with mental illness. It can be bipolar, it can be depression, it can be schizophrenia, any mental health issue that someone is going through. Don't take it like a joke. It's good to look for help, because there is help. Even I encourage people, don't say Malare is a bad place, because they normally say Malare is for demonic. So I could urge people, it's a good hospital, it's a hospital like any other, where you go there, you get your treatment and you get better. So it is not good to say that you stay with a problem, at simply you don't want to go to Malare where you can get help. But it is associated with something that is not...
I think it's the comments also that we make, because how many times I've had someone say, wewe nitakupeleka Mathare.
Tutakupeleka Mathare kuangaliwa. So I don't know
so we bring in more stigma. Yes.
Stigmatize the hospital, and that's why I like spreading the gospel.
Yes.
It is a hospital, and people go there when they are sick and get help.
The same way you go in when you have a cold.
Yeah.
And you get help.
You get help.
And you get well.
Yes.
Yes.
Me, I get well when I go there.
Yeah.
Although sometimes there is a lot of triggers. With life stressors, there is sometimes you can be overwhelmed, the triggers.
What are some of the triggers?
You can have a loss. Like last year I lost my dad. So that was a trigger, and it made me to go back to the ward. Yes. Those are the event.
So you can have, you have a trigger, you're still on medication, but still...
Yes, you can have
it still affects you, and you have a relapse.
Yes, it happens.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be turned by medication. You are taking a medication, but the trigger is so much for you.
Yes, yeah.
So you also need to go and relax. You get into relapse.
Yes.
And you are
so something tragic is a trigger. What else is a trigger?
So you can be going a very stressful life event, like that one, like a loss of someone, like what I was going through. They can also go, the daily life stressors are also able to, if you are not having enough coping mechanism, you can even find yourself there.
Yes.
And
so it's important for people who are living around someone who is mentally ill to understand the triggers and try and prevent a
yes, you need a very good support system that can know when you are getting into this one, so that you can be assisted when you need. Yeah, but it happens so much.
Yes.
And when you find that, like when I go to Mathare, you find I'm actually very resilient. Sorry to say that one. You find that the people you are there like about 5 years or 10 years, they are still there. So I count myself lucky, and that's why I try to campaign for spreading the gospel of mental health.
Yes, yes. And I'm happy that you're talking about it, because now it gives other men especially the courage to talk about mental health.
Yes, it's everybody's responsibility, especially if you have that knowledge about mental health. It's not good to judge.
Yes.
The way you judge, huyu amekunywa, huyu amefanya nini, try to look for where you can help that person. Yes.
Thank you so much, Samuel, for joining us today.
Thank you too.
Well, as Samuel says, it is not good to judge. And actually for me, today's show has been about self-judging. I have made jokes about mental illnesses, and I've come to realize it was mostly because of my ignorance. What have you learned today, and how have you judged today on mental illness? See you next time.